documents, there is a product called Copilot. So in a nutshell, Copilot is Microsoft's version of AI. Now, it is not exactly the same as what you may have heard elsewhere from other providers that are out there, so we want to explore that and make sure that you cover off the knowledge. I also want to give you some practical examples of what you will probably see yourself, and also what's available when additional licensing is made available in your business. So the idea here is to look at what we'll cover. So we want to look at some of the settings, some of the personalization capabilities to give you benefit in potentially using this product immediately in your environment. We want to talk a little bit about the AI side of things. It's a hot topic of conversation, and as with anything that's new and evolving, especially in technology, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty and doubt. We want to cut through that with a particular focus on what can be done for a business, what can be done for an individual to improve their productivity and where it actually matters for them. We want to talk about another hot topic inside AI, which is agents. And the big push now, I suppose, or the big theme I'm hearing, is around the concept of agents. So agents, the easy way to think about this is just automated AI. So rather than asking your AI to do a topic or a question and waiting for it to come back, AI agents can take over that and do things autonomously. We also want to focus on understanding what this Copilot chat is, what that actually is, what you can actually do with that, and obviously get into the practical use cases. How can you use this in your environment today to make your life easier and allow you to work more productively? I'll walk through the interface. I'll show you what you should be seeing when you do navigate to Microsoft 365. And of course, being open and honest with a lot of this, there are some limitations around the product you may have today. Obviously some myths and some misunderstandings that I see out there that hopefully I can clarify. And then we'll give you some practical takeaways that you can then take away and hopefully start using inside your business and with other people inside your organization. So we firstly want to make sure we understand what Copilot Chat is. So again, I've mentioned the word Copilot. That is Microsoft's product, which is around the AI they provide to their customers. The chat capability is a conversational assistant, and it's already built into the Microsoft 365 environment. So there's nothing to turn on, there's nothing to add or configure. We've got somebody not on mute. Wait, do you want to just put that one on mute? Thank you. The idea is that it's all built into the capabilities you're probably using today, and I can show you where to use that and take advantage of that. The way to look at a lot of this is, okay, you need, or where can I use this in my day-to-day work? And I can use this importantly in a browser, which is largely what I'll show you, but there are also integrations with things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, as well as mobile apps. So you can download a Microsoft 365 Copilot app on your mobile device, and you can use that to access AI and other things such as documents and emails inside your environment today. Importantly, Copilot Chat is not a replacement for search engines. So the big differentiation here around all AI systems is that AI systems are probabilistic. What that means is they generate the most likely outcome based on the wording that you use. So if you ask the same question twice, you probably won't get the same result. It's kind of trying to guess the next word in the sentence that it's creating. And it does that by looking at massive amounts of text from the internet and building a probability of what the most likely next word is. So you need to remember that all AI systems are what they call probabilistic, in that they generate outcome based on probabilities. Search engines, on the other hand, are deterministic. What I mean by that is, if you type a phrase or a set of words into a search engine, generally you will get the same sort of search results back. So it looks exactly at the words you have typed in, and it will give you that response back. Also, it's not a magic tool, right? So what you're going to get is a capability to a certain set of features based on your license. Generally, if you want to start using agents and automation, then you may need to purchase advanced licensing to give you those capabilities. Now, does everybody in the business need the full license? No, not necessarily to start with. The more advanced users, the power users, perhaps, they will get more benefit out of an advanced license, but it's not necessary for everybody to immediately upgrade or buy an advanced license. And of course, the important thing to remember is that the AI is far from being perfect. Now, the analogy is to think of your AI, or think of any AI, as a very keen, very knowledgeable junior employee in the organization who has just started. You can give them tasks, you can ask them questions, they'll be able to pull from the knowledge they've learned at university, but they don't have that worldly experience to give you the exact answer. So again, the idea here is to think, okay, this is a really good tool that I can use, but I do need to be careful. I do need to double check the information, and as always with any technology, garbage in, garbage out. So a lot of it comes to asking the right question in the right manner to get a much better result. And again, that is very similar to the concept we have with our search engines as well. So what I want to be able to give you at the end of today is the ability to work confidently with Copilot Chat, with the AI, to at least start exploring the opportunities that are available to you and how you can use it inside your business, even if you do not have a premium license. So a quick overview here of AI. AI, like I said, is just a software product. It uses vast amounts of text, largely taken from the internet. It then uses that to create predictive mathematical models of what the next most likely word is in the sequence, and that's what it generally returns. So the reason for large data centers, the reason for NVIDIA chips is this mathematics needs to be run in a large compute environment to be able to then serve that to a variety and a range of people. AI doesn't think. Again, it's a generative response. So what it means is the AI doesn't possess the ability to create something from nothing. It has the ability to generate information based on its knowledge, based on the data set it's working with. So if you give it a number of documents to work with, it's able to generate additional information, but based on that data set. So this is called grounding. The concept is that you ground the AI in a particular data set, whether it's things like invoices, whether it's things like quotes or contracts, and then you can generate iterations of that data using AI. The idea, as it's mentioned here, is a well-read assistant that has absorbed most of the internet, so it has that capability. The big difference when you think about search engines will return a list of matches, but it puts no context in it. The AI can do summaries, it can let you know what's valid, it can do a little bit of reasoning across that, it can do some verification. So it's not just not returning results, it's actually able to do some analysis on the information that it does know about. And as mentioned before, quality in, quality out, it's worthwhile spending a bit of time working out how to speak or how to converse with AI to get the most out of it. So again, the analogy here is a very keen but green employee. If that employee comes to you and you say, look, I want you to get me a coffee, that AI will go away and will get a cup of coffee or whatever, but it doesn't know what sort of milk, it doesn't know how big, it doesn't know what sugar, because you've been not specific about what sort of coffee you want. Same thing applies when you use an AI prompt. The more specific, the more structured we make it, the better the outcome will be. So the idea here is to spend a little bit of time up front, go through a process, which I'll show you, to make sure that your prompting follows a particular format, and you will get a lot better results out of that. And I'll show you how to do that quickly and easily. Now, the capabilities you get with Microsoft Copilot is dependent on whether you have the included version, which we will call the free version, That basically you can get to by the URL there. In that environment, which you get with your Microsoft 365 environment, we'll have a look at it in detail, you have access to the data that's on the internet. So the AI will be grounded in the data on the internet to answer any question or reason across to give you a resolution of what you ask. However, the included license does not work across your internal company data. To achieve that, you would need to purchase a license, a paid license of Copilot, to get the capability to reason across your individual data. Now, the idea here is, like I said, you don't necessarily need to buy a license immediately. You can certainly start with working across the internet. So it's very good for generating new marketing ideas. It's very good for doing research on your competitors or creating information brochures and so on based on what is available on the internet. But if you want it to natively work across your internal Teams, SharePoint, emails, those sort of documents, then a paid license is a worthwhile investment, because all of that is natively integrated. So you can say, summarize my emails for the last day, please tell me which emails I should respond to in priority, and it will know and be able to manage all of that without having to be, again, anything else specific. This means that you also unlock some additional advanced features. You get the capability to build these autonomous agents using the tools that Microsoft does provide. All of this is implemented or powered by technology from Microsoft called the Graph. The Graph is an underlying technology running in the background. It is building a database of the interactions you have with your own information. So the emails that you work with, the people that you converse with, the documents that you open, the way that you reply to emails, and so on. And it then allows that to make better decisions and to act in a way that would work better across your corporate data, because, again, it knows your data. So the difference there is, imagine, like I said, this employee who's very competent, who knows a lot about what's out there on the internet, and then when you pay for a license, they now add the knowledge of what's inside your business. Now, of course, the big thing is you'll probably see on every news report these days, there is updates and AI. It's marching forward at a great pace. The idea is this is going to continue to accelerate. We're going to see a lot more changes. So it's still very early days for a lot of the technology. You'll see a lot of changes, a lot of improvements as it begins to settle into the workplace. This is no different from any previous technology wave that we've had. So back in the dot-com boom, we had this transition to websites, to e-commerce, and then we had the move to the cloud, where a lot of the servers and equipment you would have used on premises or need to maintain on premises moved into a data center that is managed by Microsoft, alleviating you from basically needing to manage that yourself. So we'll see similar improvements, changes, and enhancements when it comes to AI as we move forward. So we'll go in and have a look at this in the interface so you can have a look at this and understand it. But the big difference is you've had search in Microsoft 365 for a long time, and it's really good for finding specific items in files or in information. So if you're looking for a quote and you know the quote number, or you're looking for an invoice and it's got a particular invoice number, you can search for that in Microsoft 365, and that should then be shown to you. So it's deterministic. What you put into search is generally the results that you'll get, and it's really good for finding documents and to answer simple questions across your corporate information. And this is built into the Microsoft 365 environment. Now, the idea with chat is we want to have a backwards and forwards conversation with our technology. Now, most people will generally run a search, and then if they want more information, they then have to run another search, which is slightly extended in the question that it's asked. The AI has the ability for you to have a conversation and use memory for it to remember what this conversation is over a period of time. So you can, for example, start out by asking it to analyze a company, and then you can say, who is the manager of this company? What were the profits of this company for the last year? Give me their product line, and you don't have to repeat yourself and say, it's this company that we're talking about. The AI will remember that in a conversational style tone. It also gives you the ability to do reasoning, so you can go to it and say, who are the top 3 providers of battery technology in Australia, and it's going to be able to reason and locate that information given the context that you have provided. It's also really good for drafting and writing emails and documents. I found it to be exceptional when you want to kind of remove the emotion in an email response. It's very easy to, shoot off an email when you're a bit worked up, or, something has, triggered you, I suppose. Putting that into AI, getting a response which is factual, professional, generally is going to give you a much better result. So I certainly encourage that. It's also really good to make sure that you cover off all the items required by the recipient. So in many cases, especially in technology, we tend to overlook the fact that technology people like to talk technical, and the people we're talking to are not necessarily deep technical people. They want it in business terms. They want it in much simpler everyday analogies, and we can use AI to do it like a translation. Here's the technology, the speeds and the feeds and the technical details. Now convert that, rewrite that into terminology that a business user will find easier to digest. The other thing AI is summarizing large pieces of content. If part of your job involves summarizing large PDFs, emails, websites, and so on, a really good example is that you can take a piece of government legislation, something like the Privacy Act, and you can point AI at it and then have the AI give you a summary, break it down into the top 3 points. Then you can have it tell you how that would have an impact on your business or on your industry. So it's really good at summarizing that information. So imagine it has the ability to provide a summary of the conversation. So many of us have received long and detailed, multi-threaded emails as part of a conversation between many people. It would be fantastic if at the top of that email, when you're included for the first time, you get a nice summary that says, right, this is where the discussion is, these are the top points, and you can kick off from that point. So AI is going to allow you to be able to do that across documents, emails, and a variety of information quickly and easily. So the idea here is that a lot of the work you may be doing, you can use AI as an assistant to shortcut a lot of that. Do you need to read, that really detailed contract? Maybe you just need a summary of it to get kind of started. So that's where AI can save lots and lots of time when you're wanting to do that. So the idea here is we want to be able to manage our chats. I'll show you how to start a new chat. We can also create and use a temporary chat. So that's a bit like in private browsing, if you're aware of that. What that means is that every chat that you have is stored in a chat history. This allows you to roll back to that location and continue the conversation over time. So at the moment, I'm looking to upgrade a machine, a PC that I have before the end of the financial year. I can have a conversation with my AI to try and find the best deal or to find the best configuration. And then I can come back 3 or 4 days later and say, oh, I found a better deal, or this is a special that's now happening. How does that compare to what we've already discussed? And it can continue on from there. So again, by default, that information will be available to you in your history on an ongoing basis. But if you don't want to have that information in your history, you can go into a temporary chat. It's important to remember that in the Microsoft environment that all of this sort of information is potentially accessible by an administrator. It's kept in a secure location, only accessible to administrators for compliance reasons. So that's one of the benefits of the Microsoft environment, is the AI is layered on top of the security and compliance underneath it. We also get a number of suggested prompts to get you started, which we'll cover off, and we can add more content. So even with the basic AI, you can add additional information. You can upload files manually. You can point it to websites and add that information as well. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll also notice that you can speak to your AI, so you can use voice. Many people are more comfortable using voice than they are typing in. You can certainly use that in the web-based version plus. Also, it works really well, I found, on the mobile device. So probably the best thing to do is switch over and show you. So what I've done here is I've gone to the opening page of Microsoft 365. You'll see here I have a menu system on the left-hand side. I can collapse that with the first icon in the top there. You see that I also have the waffle, or the 9 dots. The 9 dots allows you to navigate to any of your apps, as well as a number of other items, which we'll talk about shortly. You'll see that I have my traditional Microsoft 365 search as the second option here. So if I select this, I can go in here and, for example, do a search for invoice. It's now going to search across all the data that I have access to as a user. It's not going to reveal information that I don't have access to. So this is controlled by the permissions that are set up inside your environment. And for some reason, there we go. It's done a search across all that information. You'll see that it's found anything that matches with the word invoice in the heading or inside the actual document, and it's returned that to me. And I can filter that down by files, by SharePoint sites, people, news, messages, meetings, and so on. So this is always deterministic in that if I always put invoice in, I'll always get the same sort of results back. We'll talk about the library. That's a place where AI media that you create, like images and videos, is stored. You'll see there are a number of agents. We'll come to those, and here's the chat history I was talking about. So these are all the chats that I have run recently. Now, if you go over the top here, you'll see I'm able to search those chats and recall them based on the information that was asked or the information that was returned. Now, if we go back to the chat interface, we get a very familiar AI style chat box here. Just quickly, you'll see that you can add additional information, so you can upload files from your C drive or from other locations in here. When you do upload documents from outside the Microsoft 365 environment, they will be saved securely into your personal file location, which is known as OneDrive. Once that is the case, you can then attach them at any point in time to reuse them. So any document which is not in the environment that you choose to use will be uploaded into your OneDrive for Business, and then you can navigate to the location that you may have stored it, and you can then use that as a grounding data source if you want. So all of that is available to you. Over on the right, you'll see that I have the dictation, so I can turn that on, and my voice would then be converted to text rather than me having to type. Down the bottom, you'll see that I've got a number of suggested prompts here. So this will show me or give me the suggestion, like the text that I provide to sound more professional. I've got the ability to create different items, so create a frequently asked questions, summarize documents here. So these are the prompts that I could use, find, and so on. Now, if I select the 3 dots, you'll see that I'm taken to what's called a gallery of prompts. Now, the first one we've got here are suggested prompts from Microsoft. So this is a best practice style template, and you'll see there are hundreds probably of these suggested prompts, and you can sort them by particular task and job type and so on. Now, when you create a prompt, it is also possible to save any prompt that you use regularly. Maybe you want to prompt on a website, what's been updated in the last week, last month, give me all the changes. You can then save that and reuse that. You can also generally share that prompt with other people in your organization. So if someone has got a really good prompt, they are able to share that with you through this mechanism. You'll see that you can search for your prompts in the top right-hand corner too. If you do not remember exactly what the prompt is, which I tend to do, it's like, I think I was talking about something here. I can just do a search and find that particular prompt and then reuse it quickly. In the top right hand corner, you'll see that I've got what's the auto button here. This is called the model, or the LLM, if you've heard that terminology. The idea here is that by default, Microsoft will automatically select the best AI to use on your prompt. But if you want, you can select the auto button. See here, you've got the option to select always a quick response. That'll give you the fastest response from the AI. You've also got the option to think deeper. This will take longer to resolve, but will spend more time reasoning, double checking its queries and so on across the environment to make sure they are valid. But the trade-off is obviously the longer it takes to think, the longer it will take to deliver a result. Down the bottom here, you'll see that we can actually select down to a specific model if we want. Now, GPT models are what is provided by OpenAI. So Microsoft isn't an LLM creator inside Microsoft 365. It's utilizing other providers like OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Claude. Again, if you have an advanced license, you get access to Claude models. There are also Grok models and Mistral. So Mistral is a European style LLM that is also available to you. But generally, you want to leave it on auto and it will make the best decision as required. The little blue button up the top here allows you to start a new chat. So the best recommendation is that, like speaking to a person, you start with a chat, you have it, keep it on topic. As soon as you want to change to another topic, the recommendation is to start a new chat. So it's a new sequence memory conversation that the AI will work in. Now, if you pull that down, you'll see you've got the ability to do temporary chat. Now, if I select the temporary chat here, you'll see that I get the text that says it's a temporary chat, and the chat won't be saved, or there won't be any memories created in this area, right? So again, that's the idea for that. In the top right here, you have a little green shield. If you mouse over it, you'll see this is called the Enterprise Data Protection. If you click on this, this will take you to Microsoft's documentation about how it handles the information that is put into this environment. So what it's saying in a nutshell is that Microsoft will not use your data or your company's data to train the models, to sell you advertising, or to utilize that and sell that to third parties. So that's the guarantee they provide, because this is a commercial product that you or your business have already paid for and are using, and that is the guarantee they provide to you. There's also the three dots or the ellipses. You'll see here you can look at recent pages. If you want to go in and modify any settings, we can cover off some of these, but this is where you can personalize your AI. The idea is you can go in and you can say, well, I want you to take these instructions every time you run. Those personal instructions might be always act as a finance controller, always act as a marketing person. You can control or customize the instructions that AI utilizes every time. The other option down here is memories. So the idea is that the AI can remember things about the way you want outputs. A very common thing to do there is to tell your AI to always produce output in Australian English rather than American English, and also to use Australian dollars rather than US dollars. Now, you can turn those on and off if you want, but generally they are on. You've also got notifications, so it will tell you when it answers a question. If it does take longer than normal, you can go away and do other things and come back. And then down the bottom here, you'll see you can also specify additional third-party services if you want to integrate with these, and these will be a growing list of capabilities to do that. So that means Copilot will use the AI of the internet plus any of these additional connections you make. You will need to log into those to enable that capability. All right, so again, that was in the top right-hand corner there and generally under settings. So to use AI, you would go in here and tell me the market share of EV vehicles in Australia. Okay, so it is going to then take that prompt, it's going to reason across that prompt, and you'll see it will return information from that found on the internet, because I don't have an advanced license of AI here. So the idea is this is what it gives me generically out of the box here. Now down the bottom, you'll see that I also get a list of the sources. So these are the locations that it has returned data or information from. You can always go in and verify any of these sources. So I always tell you its sources down the bottom. You can copy the text here. So if I click the copy button, I can copy and paste that maybe into an email. Thumbs up, thumbs down just means it did a good job or did a poor job. I've also got the ability to share the prompt with other people, right? So if I got a prompt that gave me a great result, I can share that with people. I'll come back to the next one. You see I can read aloud. I can also export it directly to Word. Now what I can also do is I can save this prompt output into something called a page. So a page is kind of like an online Word document, always up to date. It's kind of like OneNote if you do use OneNote. The idea here is that you can go in here quickly and easily and update the information. You can edit this document quickly on the fly. And then what you can do up the top here, you'll see that I can convert that to a Word document or a PDF directly. And I can also share that document with others inside my organization. The idea and the concept behind this is you're working on a project with a group of people. Different people have different prompts, get different results, but you want to put all those in a single page, single online document. You will work on it together. And then when you're ready, you can export that to Word or a PDF. So I think you're working on a quote or a tender. You use AI to assist you, answer questions, craft it and document it in the right way. When you're happy with it, you can then output that. Now that page you'll see over here is saved, and we'll come back to it and I'll show you where that is if you need to get back to it. It is in the bottom of the prompt there once I create it. Down the bottom here, you'll see that there are additional queries and questions. I can continue on the conversation, but let's say, for example, I go in here. Now I want to control the output. What is the actual output? So it's made its best guess at what the output is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the AI, please give me the output as a summary table. So I'm telling it, okay, you found the right information or the good information, but now can you put it in a format that's more suitable for me to paste into a document rather than having to read the whole thing. And again, we can copy that into other locations. We can add that to our document that we've created and so on. So we keep prompting to get the response that we want. You'll see over here on the left-hand side, the prompt is maintained, and we can always jump backwards and forwards between our different prompts and continue on with that conversation. Now the page that we created is under our library. So if we go to our library here, you'll see here is the page that we just created. You'll see that if you go to 3 dots, you can open it. You can also delete it. Any images that we create are also saved in this location. If we want to create an image, I can go in here and say create an image of a car driving on the street, and it will correct for any spelling or grammar mistakes that I have. Now obviously the time it takes to generate the image depends on the complexity and the data set, and the more granular I wanted it, it will do that for me. But you'll see, given a hopefully not too long, it will generate a pretty good photorealistic image that you can then use, copy and paste, put into a Word document, put into your marketing material, whatever. Now, of course, you could upload an example file. You could say, here's an example of what we've already done. We want it to be similar to this. You could also, reference a image that you found on the internet. So again, you could say, look, this image we really like, but can you modify it to include this or have a different color set? It's going to be able to do that. So you're going to be able to create as many images as you want based on the prompt. And again, remember, it's going to, by default, come out to a pretty photorealistic image here. So remember, this is an image that is being generated using probability based on the information that I asked it here, right? So you'll see pretty much as though it was a photo taken. So at the end of the day, that will also end up in my library over here if I do want to access it. Now, just quickly, the way that we can improve the questions that we ask is to have something to help us do that. To achieve that, we have something called the prompt coach. So this is an agent that is focused on helping us query AI in a better manner. The way that we do that is we locate the More Agents option on the left-hand side here. This is the agent store. So these are all the agents that you can add. And again, you can't add agents that aren't free unless you obviously pay for them. So you'll see here I've got the prompt coach, but you can find that it's not listed just by searching for prompt coach. Click on the prompt coach, and then in your case it would say here to add. There's no cost for the prompt coach. It is from Microsoft. If we go in there and have a look at what it does, the difference with an agent is it's focused on doing particular jobs. So this is not going to create an image. This is not going to answer a question. But what is really good is it'll say, help me create a prompt to understand the recent Australian capital gains tax changes. Okay, now what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, this is what you want to achieve. So this is the goal. And it's going to prompt me and ask me questions is, what sort of explanation do you want? So in this case, I'm just going to say, I want a simple explanation, put that in, and then it will go to the next thing, says, great, now I know the goal you're trying to achieve, and it's going to interview me in a way to make sure that it has the best knowledge to do that. So I'm just going to say, let's say here, let's go on this one. I'm advising my clients. Let's put that in. And then it will go out, ask us the next question and give us the source, right? So we'll go in here. I'll say, so it's going to say, where do you want me to get the data source of information to work across to answer or to create that prompt? We want to use the ATO for the official ruling there. Okay, so you'll see here that it's going to want our expectations. Again, probably should have been a bit more specific, but let's keep it simple. All right, let's go in here and tell it we want it in plain English, hopefully. When it has finished, right, it's going to give us the final prompt. So here's our final prompt that it's scoped out a goal, a context, a source, expectations, and so on. It's telling us why it's a good prompt. It's going to get better results. Now, could I have typed this in manually? Absolutely, there's no question. But this is going to help you, especially initially, write better prompts and get generally better response. So the idea is you would then, copy this prompt that it's created as an output, and we would go back to our chat, and we would paste that into our general chat here, and off it would go and answer that question. But you can see that there's a lot more context in here that it can use, all right? And off it will go and answer that question pretty quickly for us. And then we can say, well, just give us a summary of a table and so on. So the prompt quotes, I'd highly recommend you to go in and add. There's no cost to do that. There's also things like an ideas coach, which is also free, and you'll find that under agents on the left-hand side here. So you'll see prompt coach, ideas coach, plus a list of other ones. Some of these may require a premium license or an additional cost, so be aware of that. But definitely the prompt coach and the idea coach, as an example, are both free and available for you to use and configure inside your environment. All right, so the idea is we talked about the recent chats. With a paid license of Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can schedule prompts. You can create a prompt to summarize your emails every Monday morning at 9 o'clock and schedule that to happen on a regular basis if you want. Custom instructions are a way for you to tell the AI what sort of role you want it to play all the time. You may want it to act as a marketing manager or a CEO or a level 1 technical support person. You can reinforce that with instructions. Memory, as I talked about, we're going to tell our AI that we want all the results to be given to us in Australian dollars or with Australian spelling or in a table output. You can basically define that. Now, if you do have the paid version, you're also able to toggle the searching of the web or the grounding of the web on and off if you wish to do that. That means that when you ask a prompt with the premium license, you can get the AI to focus only on your internal data rather than bringing in information which may not apply from the web. But by default, the web search will be on. The included or free version of Copilot always looks across the web, but the paid version allows you the ability to customize that if you do wish to do that. So as mentioned, the agents are a focused AI to do a particular job across a particular set of data. You have the prompt coach, which you talked about. You also have a designer, which is focused on creating images, videos, infographics, all those sort of capabilities. Once you have a paid license, you get the ability to use the researcher. The researcher agent is like having a university professor. You provide them a prompt of what you want them to go and report on. They will go away and clarify what you want exactly, and they will then produce 10, 15, 20 plus pages of results based on what you ask. So very extensive, very deep. The example I've got for you there, we worked with a customer who was thinking about opening an additional retail store in another suburb outside the CBD area. They wanted to determine or compare, a southern suburb versus a northern suburb, and they used researcher to do that. It took 15, 20 minutes for the researcher to gather all the details and write a comprehensive report. But it pulled information from places like the Bureau of Statistics, the councils, local councils, the demographic of the industry, put all that together, produced the report in a very professional manner to make the decision of where to open this satellite store much, much easier. You've also got the ability, once you go down the additional license option, to create your own agents. So an example of that may be if you have staff members asking regular questions about things like, well, how do we do this, and what is the right approach here, and what's our best process for doing this, you can have a custom agent based on your knowledge. In my case, I've created custom agents based on knowledge around Excel, then another agent with knowledge around Word, another agent with knowledge around using SharePoint, and so on. So you can build custom agents to do particular jobs inside your business. The benefit of that is they are firstly scoped or limited to the data that you give them or you tell them to look at, and you can potentially also automate them so you can make them perform certain tasks. So you could say, I want you to help me create a quote. It could then pull out the quote template from Word. It could then populate it with the date, the customer from the CRM. It could then pull a calculations that you've already done in Excel. So the agent's going to provide that ability to do automated style tasks for you as well. So the idea here is, even with the standard Microsoft environment, even without premium licensing, you're going to be able to use your AI to do research and summarization. My advice is always to start using the prompt coach to get the best results and make sure that it's giving you the expectations of output. Always ensure that you check the sources, because it's pulling data from the internet. And the idea is you can also use it for brainstorming and idea creation. It's really good to say, well, how have other people in my industry done it, or what's a best practice approach? So in my case, if I create a YouTube video, I want to create a title page that is the most or a thumbnail that's most enticing. So I would then go and ask AI, okay, what is the most common thumbnail? What are the best colors? What should the thumbnail include? What sort of font? How big the font is? Should it be dark background or light background? So it's really good for brainstorming and giving me that information before I go in and potentially customize it to suit my particular needs. Really good for drafting content. So draft me an email based on this, draft and a reply, create a simple agenda based on this file, summarize this file into a table. Really good at doing that rather than you having to start from scratch. So for me, is if I want to create something to give people, show people, I can use the AI to at least get that process started, and then I can modify it and adjust it as I need. And the idea here is, like I said, you can use it to do simple things like rewrite this more clearly or rewrite this for this particular audience. In my case, as mentioned, in a lot of cases, we have technical information that we want to provide to customers in a manner that they can understand. So a very common thing I use is rewrite this in non-technical jargon, rewrite this in a manner that a business owner can understand that. So again, very, very handy capability for it to do that for you as well. So as we get towards the end here, here's a bit of a summary, what Copilot Chat can do and some common myths. So you need a full license to access your internal company data by default. You can upload it manually hitting the plus key, but that becomes very tedious once you start using it extensively with your internal data. It's much better to look at a full commercial license that will automatically take care of those connections for you as well to Teams, SharePoint, emails, and so on. Copilot or AI knows everything? No, that's definitely not the case. It's a case of being very keen, very knowledgeable, but it's not perfect. It's used the internet in many cases to learn, which is, we know, not a perfect environment. The internet is full of knowledgeable and unknowledgeable sources. So again, always be careful, always double check that. And you can constrict it. You can say to your AI, you know, answer this about the capital gains tax only based on what is documented in the ATO's website. You can force it into a particular source. Copilot from Microsoft is not just ChatGPT. The idea is that you get enterprise data protection, you get compliance, you get integrations with your Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You get a number of additional tools for creating images and for automating agents and creating those as well. So all of that is coupled into the licensing that is provided by Microsoft 365 Copilot. And the other side of it is you don't need to be technical. The idea is, back in the day, a lot of people were a bit hesitant to use search engines. AI is very similar. The idea is my recommendation is going to be spend a bit of time learning how to use the tool, and you will get, you know, a hell of a lot more out of it. And again, the easiest way to kind of do that is to go in here into your AI and say, you know, please help me learn Copilot step by step. Okay, and then you go in there, I prefer to watch videos. And then what it will do is it will take that request and then it will put together that material from sources on the internet, and it'll give you step by step by step here. Okay, and then what I can do is I can then further customize that and say, okay, I've got an hour a week between these times for me to work through this. What would you recommend? And you'll see here it gives me the recommended links to go in and learn it, so you can create this for yourself, and then you could potentially share that with other people in the organization. So don't think that you can't use AI to help you learn AI or to learn any topic in your industry. Last one here is I would give you as a starting kit is, again, start with the chat capability. Remember, it's not search, it's a reasoning tool which will give you the most probabilistic, the most likely outcome after you ask it. Custom instructions also help the AI know what it needs to do regularly. So typically it's around the role. So if you're a marketing manager or an accounts person, you can tell it to always, you know, use that or use Australian dollars as mentioned on a regular basis. The idea is just try some stuff. It's not going to cause any issues. It's not going to cost you any additional money. All of that is included in the price of your Microsoft 365. As mentioned, it's only as good as the questions or the prompts that you ask. I would recommend the prompt coach for you to go and ask questions about forming the prompts in a way that makes it easier for AI to deliver the results that you want. So in general, if you're getting poor results, it's largely based on not asking the questions or the prompting in a manner that the AI would expect. You can use the prompt coach to enhance that. And after a while, you'll become skilled enough. You'll know the format. You'll be able to do it without thinking. And the last thing here is Copilot is a tool, right? It's not going to, you know, magically answer all your emails. It's not going to magically remove all the tasks that you have to do, and it's not going to make you coffee, right? So it's just something that you can use to enhance and improve the way that you do work, and hopefully allow you to be more productive and focus on higher value tasks that the AI is not very good at doing. So AI is very good at doing low level, repetitive, generating information, summarizing information, but it still lacks creativity, it still lacks taste, and that's where the people factor still will dominate. All right, I think we're pretty close to the end of our time here. I will pause and thank you very much for your time. Again, there are a couple of links that are there that you can gain access to, adoption.microsoft.com. You've also got support.microsoft.com/training. And again, there are some labs there that will go in there and show you the prompts that we have talked about. So with that, I will hand back to our MC and see if there are any questions that I may need to answer before we look at rounding off